Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. Ralph Bond is here with us for both hours. Always an enjoyable show with Ralph. We've got Ben continues to add new features onto his live video. If you're watching the live video stream, so it's going to be a fun show, kind of all over the road as we normally end. We're going to have a couple of calls. We're going to have one of our winners call in too. Which is kind of interesting.
So, going to give a product review for the Logitech touchpad
that he won.
That we all talk about so much. So, yeah.
All right, so sit back.
1 minute until showtime.
Relax, enjoy the show as we begin our Friday edition of the Computer America Show. Remember, Ralph, you can mute yourself by just clicking the little up on the top of the screen there in the Hangouts, the second from the left. You can mute yourself. There it is. That's right. "15 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Friday! Yes, another week of broadcasting excellence.
Excellence in the can.
I was going to say in the container, but okay.
In the container. In the Tupperware. Wherever you keep your excellence.
And broadcasting excellence, of course. Well, again, it's Friday night. Now, how many people of you did you catch the Avengers: Age of Ultron? Let me see your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, a lot of people.
A lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of people saw it. Okay. And of course, if you haven't seen it after the show, you should go out and see it because right now you need to be here rather than some movie. But we have a great show planned for you tonight. Ralph Bond is here. The man from Autodesk. That's right. He is here to talk about some of the amazing, fun things that he finds on the internet and shares them with us. Also, since it's Friday, we're going to have a show reminder winner of the week.
The crowd's so active tonight.
Yeah. Some lucky person's going to win that Logitech T650 glass wireless touchpad, valued at $80. Really, really slick. And so that's coming. Also, I understand that a little bit later in the show, we're going to actually have one of our winners who won that give us a little review of the Logitech. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, but I assume.
Yeah, it's so weird that this is like the first time a winner has been, want to come on and kind of discuss how they felt about their product because, we've been sending these things out once a week for,
years.
God knows how long, and we don't know if they're taking them and running away to Canada. We don't know what they're doing with them, and it's none of our business. It's just no one ever tells us how much they love it.
I mean, if you want to run away to Canada with your T650 glass touchpad, who are we to stand in your way?
I know it's your business, but
but exactly.
If this sets a nice precedent where you come on and tell us how much you like the prize, I mean, that's good.
Personally, I would have run away to a more southern temperate climate rather than Canada with my T650.
I hear Alaska is pretty warm during the summer.
Yeah, but it's not year round though. So okay, anyway. So that's what we have planned for you tonight. if you have a comment or a question, we'd love to hear from you. We keep our phone lines open just for you. Call us, 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881 will get you on and get you through. We don't have email anymore. We've decided not to accept email when we're live on the show because our new website, which will go active Monday, hopefully if everything goes to plan, we're going to have a new website up. We won't need the email component. You can correspond with us, obviously, by telephone. You can also go into our live, interactive, brand new chat room that we have implemented. We'd like to hear from you either way, either via our chat room or via phone. No more email. We just we want you. I mean, if you want to be silent, go into the chat room. If you want to call us, call us. We're getting a lot more direct here on the program.
Well, that and we have live customer support on our website. We're going to call it that, even though it's just our chat room. But it's better than email because I'll be honest with you, we hardly ever checked it. I mean, it was there and we read it sometimes, but it's email. It's not very immediate.
Okay. Yeah, we do check it. But anyway, the chat room is much more immediate, and of course the phones are instantaneous as well. So this is all the different things that we're doing as we continue to change and modify the program. So anything else you want to mention before we bring on our guest, Ben?
No, not that I can think of.
All right, well, let's bring him on. So we have a special introduction for him. He's back! Bond is back. And we've got him. It's all Bond on tonight's show. Not James. Ralph Bond. Ralph Bond is a correspondent to the Computer America show. Now, he's the author of Family Computer Fun, Digital Ideas Using Your Photos, Movies, and Music by Q Publishing. He's also the co-author of the PC Dad's Guide to Becoming a Computer Smart Parent by Dell Publishing. Ralph was Intel's Consumer Education Manager for more than 10 years, and for nearly the past 7 years, he's been part of the Autodesk communications team. Ralph, welcome into Computer America. How are you, sir?
I am great. How are you guys? I haven't seen the movie you were talking about, the newest one, and boy, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Age of Ultron, but I would think you'd also be the new Bond pictures coming out. Spectre.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that's a family requirement. I'm sorry, I have to go.
It's mandatory to see a Bond.
It's
movie
mandatory
in the Bond family. I would think so. You like Daniel Craig as Bond? I think he's terrific.
Yeah, it took at first it was kind of a big adjustment, but I think it's created a whole new kind of grittier,
like
more teeth.
Yeah, like the Sean Connery version of Bond. He was very.
Yes. Although Sean Connery was he was smooth like single malt whiskey, right? But
right, but less refined. He needed to do something bad to you. You didn't think twice about it, and whereas with the other Bonds, they were a little more elegant,
Oh yeah, they were more like fashion models with guns.
Exactly. Whereas with Daniel Craig, back to the nitty gritty. So I really do like. I
agree.
Yeah. All right. So now let's tell you a little bit what we're going to do here. With the phone numbers 347-884-8881. If you have a comment or question for Ralph or us here at the show. Now you can also participate in another very interesting way. If you go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com, just click on the show notes button. You will see tonight's show, and also you'll see the description of what we're talking about here with Ralph. But the other thing that you're going to see as well is a little link that says Cheat Notes. Okay, and if you click on the Cheat Notes link there, it will open up a Google Docs document in your browser, and you'll be able to see everything that we're talking about tonight. So not only will you be able to see what we're talking about, you'll see the descriptions. I mean, Ralph actually does this for us, and you'll also see, most importantly, the links. So if you want to explore the story even more so after where we've talked about it, you can see everything that we're going to be talking about tonight. So it's called the cheat.
Rob. Do you remember the good old days where you would just send us this list and it was perfectly curated just like this, but only Craig and I would see it and no one else?
Yes. So you can see it, but now we've added yet another element. So not only can you see it in the cheat notes, but now if you're watching the Computer America Show, and they go, watching? Yes, see, because not only we are radio broadcast, but we also stream the live video. So if you click on the chat room / live video button on our homepage, you'll see two things. You'll see the chat room, which will start up immediately, and also the live video stream will start, and you can watch us there. And when you watch us there, you'll be able to see not only myself and Ralph, but you'll see Ben, but you'll see all the new things that Ben is doing on the video component of the show. And in the background, when you watch Ben, you will see what the cheat notes would be showing you. You will actually see the website, you'll see the images, you'll see the links. Now, if you can't click on the links on the video, that's why we suggest that you also download the actual cheat notes. But you'll be able to see everything and watch everything. It just makes it for a more immersive experience. And we just try to make everything more complete here on the program. We do all these things for you, our listeners, and hopefully you'll appreciate all these great things that we do here on the program for you. All right, so I think that said, anything else? I think I covered all the bases. So let's start off with now, I guess, last month we were talking about 3D printing, and this month we're talking about 3D printing, 3D printing. Yeah. We got more 3D printing stories. And we're going to start with this first story, the 3D printing in fashion. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is really fun. And up front, an admission that I have a couple of shameless Autodesk-related stories to share with you. But from an editorial point of view, I will argue they have story value that exceeds my selfish interests in promoting my company. So with that said, the first story, folks, if you have the show notes, 3D printed fashions hit the runway. And I noticed Ben kept flipping to this picture of this attractive girl over and over and over again. Ben, I get it. I understand. I used to be a young man.
She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
Yeah. So anyway, fun story. This comes from Discover News, a story by Renee Morad. And we have, again, the link in there, and you can see the pictures and all this stuff. It says the worlds of fashion and technology collided on April the 16th, 2015, during the 3D Print Fashion Show, sponsored by Materialize and curated by Natasha Alpert, founder of 3D printing consulting firm Mira S3D, I guess, or Miras 3D. Your guess, guys. You can see the show notes. You can now everybody can help me pronounce things. There you go. The show featured unique and forward-thinking pieces that were fully customized and fetched very high price tags. Held at the Javits Convention Center in New York City. Boy, have I been there a million times. The event was part of a larger 3D print week created by Alan Meckler of Meckler Media. The show unveiled original pieces created by 3D print designers from around the world. That's kind of fun. And it says here, and the article, of course, if you go to the article itself, use the link, you'll see a glimpse of some of the most innovative 3D printed fashion designs and accessories. Now, above the photo that we were talking about, this is a black lace dress with a 3D printed chest piece that was inspired by the sci-fi action movie Alien. Designer Rachel Nahn created the 3D prints and digital models in Autodesk Maya. There's the shameful plug. That's our software. And then sewed the dress herself, and the dress was printed at an outfit called Shapeways. Now, as I kept looking at this image for a variety of reasons, but one of the reasons I came up with is I'm thinking now as a parent, and possibly someday a grandparent, this would be the ideal prom dress, guys. Why? Anyone want to guess why this is the ideal prom dress?
It looks foreboding.
Yes, and that young man is going to have to work a little harder to get to the goods, right? I mean, it's almost like body armor. Mom and Dad, you could actually have this designed to be like a full-on, Joan of Arc breastplate, if you will, right? Sorry, I couldn't resist, but that's pretty common. It's kind of daunting looking. It looks like, snakes or something. It's like, watch out.
It's pretty heavy for a dress.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, but it does bring up some interesting possibilities about fashion. You know, we've seen so many those hats that they wear in England were the fascinator hats, right? Can you imagine now they'll be 3D printed fascinator hats? I guarantee it.
I can't wait.
Or can you?
This is done just by a designer, though. It wasn't part of
Right.
some bigger label. It was kind of independent.
Yeah, it was this group of, to your point, Ben, this story was all about this kind of interesting thing. Designers from around the world created their designs and then had them implemented through 3D printing. And in this case, they were using Autodesk Maya software, which is an amazing software package that's used not only in industry, but also in the entertainment industry as well for special effects and 3D photoreal animations and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's a pretty cool, yeah, it looks like you flipped over to the story. You can see some of the pretty wild and crazy stuff.
Actually, this is a guest that we had on the show, I think, a week and
okay.
a half ago. And their name is Mox, and they do fashion with a 3D printer just like yours,
Wow.
except
Look
they
at
have some proprietary software that kind of made it more organic, where
Yeah.
like no two are the same. And it's the same thing using fashion and 3D printers,
Yeah.
and I guess it's a trend now. I mean, more and more people are doing it.
It is, and you know what? I think it was the last show I was on, or maybe the show before, talking about one outfit that designs a stylish, unique, personalized prosthetics, arm and leg prosthetics, so that people who have this issue can have some style and fun and so forth, especially younger kids, and not just have the boring, drab sort of prosthetics that you typically see.
Yeah, 3D printers, I guess it's they're catching on. There's no other word for it. They're catching on.
Oh yeah, and you know something? A colleague of mine at Autodesk reminded me. He was actually in an interview, and he said, "Remember that 3D printing has actually been around for something like 30 years.
Yeah.
But it's a technology that here, until very recently, relatively speaking, was so far and away out of the range of affordability and so on and so forth that it had nothing to do with anything remotely mainstream. But now." We're all seeing this incredible revolution, and it's going to be fun to see where it all finally goes.
Right, exactly. Well, this no, I was
gonna say that. Yeah, it's been around 30 years, but it's been in the manufacturing. Like people have been using additive and subtractive 3D printing, and it's just now getting into the hands of consumers. So
That's correct.
Yeah, good point. They've been using for a while. Like this isn't new technology. This is new to us.
And yeah, it's new in terms of it being scaled down and affordable and democratized. That's what's new.
Exactly. So speaking of more 3D printing stories, NASA says, "Hey, this is Space Month for us." That's why Ben has a space background from time to time.
Perfect.
NASA reached a 3D printing milestone, which is kind of interesting. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this comes from a NASA press announcement released, and you can see this copper rocket part here in the picture. And here's the story. It says, when you think of copper, a penny in your pocket may come to mind, but NASA engineers are trying to save taxpayers millions of pennies. I'd like it better if it were millions of dollars, but anyway, millions of pennies by 3D printing the first full-scale copper rocket engine part. Now, they quote comes up here and it says, building the first full-scale copper rocket part with additive manufacturing is a milestone for aerospace 3D printing, said Steve Jurczyk, I'm going to guess on how to pronounce his name, Associate Administrator for the Space Technology Mission Directorate. Boy, if I could say that. At NASA's headquarters in Washington, he goes on to say, additive manufacturing is one of the many technologies we are embracing to help us continue our journey to Mars and even sustain explorers living on the red planet. Goes on to say here, numerous complex parts made of many different materials are assembled to make engines that provide the thrust that powers rockets. Additive manufacturing has the potential to reduce the time and cost of making rocket parts like the copper liner found in rocket combustion chambers where super cold propellants are mixed and heated to the extreme temperatures needed to send rockets to space. Goes on to say a selective laser melting machine. Selective laser melting machine. Everyone needs one of those in their garage, I think. In Marshall's Materials and Processing Laboratory, fused 8,255 layers. Stop, think about that. 8,255 layers of copper powder to make the chamber in 10 days and 18 hours. So this is not instant gratification, but still kind of amazing. Before making the liner, materials engineers built several other test parts, characterized the material, and created a process for additive manufacturing with copper. Getting near the conclusion here, it says manufacturing the copper liner is only the first step of the low-cost, upper-stage class propulsion project funded by NASA's, now this is actually the name of the program, Game Changing Development Program in the Space Technology Mission Directorate. NASA's Game Changing Program funds the development of technologies that will revolutionize future space endeavors, including NASA's journey to Mars. Then it ends by saying the next step in this project is for Marshall engineers to ship the copper liner to NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, where an electron beam freedom fabrication facility, that sounds kind of interesting, will direct deposit a nickel superalloy structural jacket onto the outside of the copper liner. And one thing, guys, that comes to mind when I was reading this story and talking about going to Mars and how can we use 3D printing and technologies, additive building technologies to help sustain colonies in remote areas where you can't just go online and order something from Amazon.com and it shows up 2 days later thanks to your Prime subscription. That's not going to happen on Mars, right? Not yet, anyway. And so there was, gosh, back in February, I was in San Francisco at a show called the Real 2015 show, which was all dedicated to 3D printing. And I've forgotten the name of the outfit, but they work with NASA, and they were showing me how they've developed a technology that will take the kind of soil that's on the moon and through some chemicals and so forth, make it a material that could be used for 3D printing. So the idea is that if you have a local resource, so you're on the surface of Mars, you're on the surface of the moon, is there a way to take the dirt or the dust or whatever and do something with it and make it a viable material for 3D printing? So that's what NASA's thinking about. How can we sustain phenomenally remote bases, whether they're on the moon or Mars or what have you, by being able to use 3D printing technology to build replacement parts or to build other materials or whatever. So I mean, I think that's puts it into a larger perspective. I've learned about what NASA's really trying to do with this whole 3D printing program.
Well, when I look at the picture, that I think it looks to me like a flower pot.
It could be a very attractive, I would suspect an expensive flower pot.
I don't need
but yeah, it's not just like you can do a lot of things like on the moon and stuff like that, but it's about taking, just like you said, the dirt, the dust, what have you, and then they can make shelters of it, because instead of shipping material to reflect the sun's rays so you don't get some kind of poisoning or sickness or something like that, just a 3D printer and some chemicals, and there you go. You have some kind of hut shelter. Just utilizing the material out there is definitely going to be done by some kind of onboard or space 3D printers.
Yeah, exactly. And another kind of a bit of an odd relationship here, but the idea of taking usually things you wouldn't think of as being potentially building materials. There's been some research going on. There's an outfit called The Living is the name of the company. And these folks are working with crazy, wacky stuff like fungus and growing fungus and finding a way to compress them and treat them in such a way that they can make building bricks out of fungus.
Really?
Right? And so, rapidly, everyone knows mushrooms and all this sort of stuff grow very quickly, right? And so if you can grow stuff very quick, figure out a way to treat it, turn it into building block bricks and so forth, all of a sudden you've got an amazing kind of sustainable, unlimited building material. So it's not directly related to this NASA story, but it's kind of an interesting idea.
Ralph, nothing surprising. If they can make a surfboard out of algae.
Yes, that's a story coming up. Sneak preview.
All right. So if you're following along, Ralph Bond is here. We're talking about all these really cool things that he finds. We're talking about 3D printing, and I guess we go to NASA, and then we go from NASA back to Mattel. Mattel. Yeah, Mattel.
Yes, yes. Another shameless Autodesk related story. Okay, let's get, I get it. But it's such a fun story. I just couldn't resist it.
Go for it.
So Mattel, the story is from Trusted Reviews. It's kind of a fun site, by the way. Story by Chris Smith, pardon me. And the headline is, Mattel wants you to design and 3D print your own toys. And I'm going to time out for a second here. What I love about this story, there's many things I like about it. But what I like about this is the antithesis of the Kodak factor. Remember the Osborning thing? Craig, you would know what I'm talking about.
I don't know any of those words.
Well, Kodak, yeah, you wouldn't. Not now. Poor Kodak's gone. Why? Kodak did not embrace digital photography at the outset. They fought it, right? Big mistake. Mattel, to their credit, I think, how forward-thinking to think, well, instead of fighting this 3D thing or the idea that kids are going to make their own little goobers and toys and little dolls and whatever they're doing, let's embrace it. Let's see how we can get into this game and provide an opportunity for our customers under our flagship brand name to do 3D printing. So that's one of the things that I kind of a long-winded setup for this story. But once again, this story is from Trusted Reviews, and you can see the show notes. I'll go into the story now. It says, toy manufacturer Mattel has announced a partnership with software company Autodesk, which will give folks the chance to design and 3D print their own toys. But remember, again, it'll be under the flag of Mattel branding in this case, right? That's the smart part, in my opinion. The Autodesk-powered mobile apps will arrive later this year, allowing users to customize the toys. The designs can then be 3D printed or submitted to the manufacturer, ding, business model, who will do likewise and ship it. So you see, you could design your toy and so forth, send it to Mattel, they'll fabricate it, send it back to you, right? So, or if you have your own 3D printer, groovy, you can do your own thing. Or if you want to take your plans, I would suspect maybe to a local 3D printing outlet, you may have that option too. It goes on to say it's unclear which toys will be available to design and customize within the app studios, but Mattel is behind global brand names like Barbie, Hot Wheels, Fisher-Price, and Thomas and Friends, the little train characters, right?
Yeah.
The Mattel and Autodesk say their alliance will give kids and families, quote, the key to your factory, meaning your home, your own kind of factory, and will inspire unlimited imaginations. And there's a link in the notes to the press release for this story, and it concludes here. It says the exclusive collaboration aims to bring hands-on design experiences to support an interactive learning environment through fun apps so that kids can also learn while they play. Well, yeah, and I just think, again, guys, think about this very smart business model, Mattel embracing this technology instead of resisting it. And I don't know of, and I'm sure there's other toy manufacturers doing this maybe, but it's the biggest brand name I know of jumping on the 3D printing bandwagon.
Yeah, Mattel, absolutely.
Yeah, huge.
All right, so again, Ralph Bond is here with us. We're talking about 3D printing, but we're going to go to story 4. We'll just maybe get started. I'm not sure how far we'll get into it before the break. But this next one is tiny gecko-inspired robots. Little tiny things, but get this. They can lift over 100 times their weight.
This is awful. This is terrible. Geckos are going to be out of a job. The gecko is going away in favor of a giant robot. Ants
will be out of a job.
Uh-huh.
Because ants have the ability to lift something ridiculously heavier than their own body weight, right?
Yeah, that's true. But geckos, how are real geckos supposed to compete with this? This is awful.
Well, depending on how much time we have, I guess we'll get started, and then we can always pick up. The title of the article from Engadget is "These Tiny Gecko-Inspired Robots Can Lift Over 100 Times Their Own Weight." There's a picture in here. You can see it. It says, "Beware the tiny robot uprising," which at this point are taunting us with the equivalent of superhuman strength. Researchers at Stanford created tiny bots that can move things more than 100 times their weight. It comes from a report in New Scientist magazine, by the way. They're the latest example of the university's research into mimicking the climbing abilities of geckos. Now, you'll see how this all fits together in a moment. The robot's feet contain adhesives, here's the gecko part, that manage to hold onto the wall even when they're carrying heavy loads and easily detach when they need to move. That's very clever mechanical.
Well, that was the whole thing with the gecko, you see.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out how these little things could stick. They would climb like glass. I mean, virtually, and leave nothing sticking behind. They couldn't figure out how they were doing this. And evidently, they finally figured out the process of how geckos actually do what it is that they do. Now, we're actually, Ben is showing a video. You can see a little bit more how this actually works. But
cool.
Yeah, look, he's actually lifting up a weight.
Oh, good, yeah. And that's what I love about the new technology you guys have for the show. I mean, this is just transforming.
Yeah, you can actually see this in action. But I'll tell you what, we're at the bottom of the hour, and we're we're going to look at this. He's actually moving a coffee.
Yeah, apparently he's taking some guy's coffee.
That's important.
Yeah, yes, exactly. All right, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ralph Bond is here with us. We're talking about these tiny little robots that use gecko, inspired by the geckos that lift over 100 times their weight, and they're obviously getting into lots of trouble. But they're having a lot of fun doing it. You can watch it on our live video stream here at the Computer America Show at computeramerica.com. We're going to take a little break. News Tips Bulletin Review from Marty Winston coming up as well. We will be right back.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-866-663-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So, disable the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and up to 4 rooms. And there's no equipment to buy. That includes your free HD TV upgrade, your free DVR upgrade, and your free professional installation. And the best part, the pristine digital picture and sound. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. So, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV. Disable the cable, cut costs, and get more. Call 1-866-663-MY-TV. 1-866-663-MY-TV.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Oh, look, you came back. Hi, this is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the WIPAC, that's W-I-P-A-C-K, Protean Puck. We got in the new WIPAC for review because of a product we've not yet had in hand, the new Samsung Galaxy S6, with no easy way to swap batteries. It makes us as stuck as an iPhone user. WIPAC is a thin, roughly handset size, 3,000 milliamp hour power puck with both key, that's QI, inductive charging, and a USB port for charging phones absent that cordless option. We've used power pucks and power puck daisy chains before to help our handset power status bars stand taller. but this is the first one that makes it more convenient to unholster the handset without towing a cable. We were able to do a function test with an Asus Nexus 7 tablet, and to be absolutely candid, when we saw the little lightning bolt on the battery icon, the smile was spontaneous. Bottom line, the WePack 3000 milliamp hour power puck for both 1 amp cable connected and wireless key inductive charging rocks. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Here, 33 minutes past the hour, Ralph Bond joins us both hours tonight to to go over all these great news stories. And we actually have a caller, though. It's the aforementioned product review. We're going to ask him to stay on hold for just a second, though, while we finish up the story. Don't want to get too far separated from it, and then we'll take the call. But, Ralph was just in the middle of doing this story about a robot, and we kind of saw the video here. If you're watching the video, we saw the video. It's a gecko-inspired robot that can lift 100 times its own weight.
Yeah, I mean, that video, you're right. I loved it. I watched it several times in a row, and it's comical and interesting and spooky and kind of, all those things at one time, right? But and you can just imagine the possible uses. But let's finish up the story. So as we were saying just before the break, the robot's feet contain adhesives that manage to hold onto the wall even when they're carrying heavy loads and easily detach when they need to move. And Craig was saying, of course, before the break, that scientists for a long time couldn't figure out how geckos can do what they do and so forth. So these emulate that gecko-like aspect of the ability to climb. And then it says, the story goes on to say, as you can see in the video, and friends, you really need to see this video. It's quite remarkable. The bot's movement is also inspired by nature, going forward one step at a time like an inchworm. 9 grams, folks. 1 9-gram robot can lift something that weighs a kilogram. In the video, it's hoisting Stanford's 2006 era StickyBot, while an astonishingly small 20 milligram bot can lift something like 500 milligrams, a small paperclip. The most impressive robot, dubbed the U-Tug, I think that's great, is a 12-gram beast that can drag something 2,000 times its weight. Whoa. I think that even beats an ant.
Yeah, it does.
There's our trivia question. Somebody in the talk chat room, please go look up quickly right now. What's the ratio of ant body weight to lifting capability? I know Ben is on it. As Stanford researcher tells New Scientist magazine, that's about the same as a human being moving a blue whale.
Wow.
What? And we're not talking about a stuffed blue whale from SeaWorld, people. We're talking about the real deal.
Yeah. That is amazing. We can call it Superbot.
Oh, boy. Super mini bot.
But that's one that can drag things, right? That's not the particularly lifting that's dragging, just like the one that was dragging the coffee.
Can lift and pull up and so forth. I mean,
okay.
You can imagine in tight space situations, or what could you do with these guys, with these little bots? It's all fun, it's all very great mechanical engineering, but what else could you do with these things? And that's what I always love about these kinds of research projects, because somebody's going to find a practical use for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they could go down into the drain in my sink and pull all the hair clogs out. I don't know. I'm all good with it. Whatever
it's they come up with. Like I don't know what kind of purpose like these tiny ones have, but of course miniature equals to scale it up, blow it up into a bigger robot, and then imagine what you can do with the same kind of technology. Like it's I don't know how much you can lift or how effective it would be, but in just construction equipment,
Yeah. There could be principles from this that could be applied, to your point, Ben, in construction and other things of that nature too. That's an interesting point. Yeah, that's why I love these kinds of stories.
Wow. Okay, coming up a little bit later, we're going to be talking about a new product way that they take clay and make glass out of it, but not just glass, but make bulletproof glass out of clay. And this is really kind of cool, but some of the other stories we're going to be doing with Ralph. But as we mentioned, we have a caller was calling the show. We were expecting this call. His name was Lucas, and Lucas was one of our show reminder winner of the week, and he's here to tell us about his prize. Hey, Lucas, welcome to Computer America. How are you?
I'm good. I'm groovy.
So you heard was it last week or the week before that you won our show reminder winner? So I'm sure that made you very happy.
Yes, I just waited and waited and waited.
And
we can hear it in your voice. You're already an old man. This is we're glad you finally won.
You finally won. And what was it that you won, Lucas?
The Logitech T650 glass touchpad.
Very cool. And so you're going to give us a little bit of a review of what you think about it. So what do you think about it?
I think about it when I was first when UPS came up to my house. They knocked on the door like they were crazy.
Well,
They went like this, and it just jumped. I jumped in the living room. I was watching TV in the living room, made me jump. I'm like this. Oh my gosh! And obviously on the floor, on the ground, I was like, really? I mean, come on now. And then they just ran and left because they knocked so loud. I think they know that I might have went out and might have got mad. But when I opened it up, it came in nice box. It was a really nice. It was a DIY. You know, very self-explanatory to open it up. But when I was trying to pair it, I wish Logitech could at least charge this device, charge this device in order to people can use it, because I had to charge it in order to use it, and the computer kept telling me that that it wasn't able to pair, and then I started getting aggravated. And I was like, whoa, I was like, what's happening? And then I just started getting upset, and I was like, okay, now what's really happening, because I'm starting to get aggravated. And excuse me.
So
and I plug the charger into my laptop. Green light comes on. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was so embarrassed. I'm like this. Are you kidding me? I mean, and even in the manual, look, I'll show you, because even in the manual, it tells you nothing about what you call it.
Well, it's
your touchpad.
It's probably plug and play for the first time, and then it's probably paired with Bluetooth. So the first time you plug it in, it downloads the drivers, and then you're off and going. So you had to plug it in first.
And also, I do know Logitech does, with most of the rechargeable products that they do, provide some sort of a charge. They don't send it with a dead battery. I think they come with a half charge, so you at least can get it started, and all of the products are like that. So.
Because even when I unplugged it, there was like no charge to it. I had to go online and download the drivers. Only driver it gave me to give me the ability to use it. But they recommended me to go on their website where the link was for the touchpad T650 and download the touchpad drivers.
Okay.
But only thing it says in here with the charging, it just says number 2, turn on the touchpad. It says nothing about that, about charge it in,
Okay.
But I think, in my opinion, it is really slick. It is really smooth. I mean, and I think it's really smooth, and I like how the noise is on here. That noise.
Yeah.
You click on it because it's a nice noise to see that when you get a good response like that. And once you get it like that, it's like brilliant. And once and I turned it on, and I even used it for what'd you call it when I even used it for, I took it to school because I need my laptop, because I do things over on my laptop now. And I used my laptop and the touchpad. I got, sometimes I got just so tired of the touchpad that was on my computer, because I have an HP Stream. I think it's the newest one. Yeah, I got, HP Stream, Windows 8.1. Got that. But the trackpad was horrifying. I'm sorry, HP, but the trackpad was horrifying with that. With
So,
this, I have, and yes.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you, what were you gonna use it for? Are you using this in place of a mouse? But I guess using it in place of the built-in trackpad.
Well, I'm using it either way, because I mean, I use it for the desktop's computer at school. I use it on my laptop in school. I even use it at home. In the past, like, I don't know, 2 days, I didn't even have to charge it. And they say in the manual that it lasts a month.
Mm-hmm. So that,
and thank gosh I got 3-year warranty.
yeah, and exactly, and most of the Logitech products last for a long time. I use their Logitech rechargeable mouse, so you can see it on the screen there. That's that one that I use there, and the battery, it lasts for like 3 years actually on a set of batteries. So
the battery?
Yeah, the battery, 3 years exactly. So they.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, most of the. Oh, and like Ralph has that one as well. Has a Logitech mouse. So see, we're all holding up our Logitech mice. There you go. All right, Lucas. Well, look, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and congratulations on winning it. And I know you're in our chat room right now, and I know you're an active participant here in Computer America. And thanks so much for calling in and telling us about your touchpad. And I know you'll keep listening. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, Lucas. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
All right, there he goes. Okay. There you go.
That was a great review.
Yeah, a very good review. Thanks, Lucas. We really do appreciate the review. I'm sure Logitech will appreciate it as well. And we continue on with Ralph Bond, who is our Computer America correspondent, and we're talking about the different things and products that he finds. And we are up on story 5, which is the Navy researchers make a bulletproof glass out of clay. And this looks really slick. Tell us about
this. This is good, but I have to say one thing about our friend Lucas. For the audience who's not benefited from being in the chat room with us, I think I rarely compliment myself. This is definitely not something my wife has trained me to think that way. But Lucas is 99.9999999% ahead of the entire male population of the planet in the fact that he read the directions.
Yeah.
That just blew my mind. I said for most of us guys, that's the last step. That's the last resort. If all else fails, oh, fine, okay.
If you can't think it out, if you can't ask someone, okay, fine, directions.
Drives my wife insane.
Yeah, me too. It drives my. Ben will come down and I'll take. Here's the instructions. And Ben says, "No, I don't want to read the instructions," and he'll just go with it. You know, I'm from the old school. I love to. I read the directions to make sure I have it right. But so many people.
I've only ever put the legs on IKEA furniture backwards.
He's not kidding, by the way. He's that's what happened. I had to do it. Take them off and put them back on the right way.
It's so funny you say that, because I think the only instructions I really pay attention to are IKEA assembly instructions, because they're usually just pictures, right? There's no, at least they're just pictures. But then again, that makes it kind of challenging. Well, that picture of that screw, is it really this screw or is it that one over here? What, you know? What? Anyway, I digress. Back to our stories.
Yes.
Thank you, Lucas. That was a hoot. Keep up the energy, man. I love it. All right, story number 5 comes from Engadget, story by Andrew Tarantola, and it's Navy researchers make bulletproof glass out of clay.
Yeah.
Now, this is a fun story, and this has, like Ben was saying, you know, and we were saying before to each other, start thinking possibilities here. But here's the story. The U.S. Naval Research Laboratory announced a major breakthrough in materials science on Thursday. Now, this story was posted late April 24, so it's pretty recent. After decades of research and development, the National Research Laboratory has created a transparent, my notes dropped a couple of characters there, so it should say a transparent, bulletproof material that can be molded into virtually any shape. Ding, ding, ding. Into any shape, right? This material known as Spinel, and I immediately thought of Spinal Tap, the movie. This glass is 11.
I think it's Spinel. I think it's Spinel.
Spinel. Okay, thank you. Because Spinal, I go right to that stupid movie, and I'm thinking, this glass goes all the way up to 11. Yeah. Anyway, Spinel. We'll go with that. That sounds more elegant. This material, known as Spinel, is made from a synthetic powdered clay that is heated and pressed under a vacuum, also known as sintered. And I had to look that up. Sintered. Make a powdered material coalesce into a solid or porous mass by heating it and usually also compressing it without liquefaction. How about that? Into a transparent sheets. Now, here's where it gets additionally interesting. Spinel is actually a mineral. We're doing a quote right now. It's magnesium aluminate. Aluminate? British or American? You take your pick. Dr. Jas Sanghera, who leads the research, said in a statement, the advantage is it's so much tougher, stronger, harder than glass. It provides better protection in more hostile environments. And so it can withstand sand and rain erosion. That means it could be good for the Middle East or the Northwest. Mm-hmm. What's really cool is that unlike most forms of commercially available bulletproof glass, now here's the kicker, guys, which is formed by pressing alternating layers of glass and plastic sheeting together. That's the traditional way of making bulletproof glass, right, Guy? A Spinel doesn't block the infrared wavelength of light. So that means that this stuff can protect an unmanned aerial vehicle surveillance camera, for example, or the lens of a HelMed laser without hindering the device's operation. And what I'm going to do for you, if you're not familiar with HelMed vehicles, I'm going to pop a link here into the chat room. See, if you're on the chat room with us, you get extra benefits. This is not in the show notes. The HelMed is a Boeing. It's this really spooky, cool-looking military truck, and it's got the High Energy Laser Mobile Demonstrator is the acronym. Of course, it has to have an acronym in the military. And so what they're talking about is using this super bulletproof glass that can be shaped, that's much, much stronger for purposes like this, for example. So the end of story here says, plus Spinel weighs just a fraction of modern bulletproof panes of glass. Goes quote here, it says, if you replaced that pane with Spinel, the one for this laser truck, for example, you'd reduce the weight by a factor of 2 or more, the scientists said. And the Naval Research Lab now plans to share the Spinel production process with the rest of the defense industry. So, hey, that's fine for defense, but guys, ding, 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 think about industrial, commercial possibilities of this. Hey, this could make maybe shaped glass, bulletproof glass for automobiles, commercial vehicles, other things like this, much more affordable, and it certainly will make protected vehicles for dignitaries, the President of the United States, whomever, much less expensive, I would predict. So this is a big, it may seem a little boring, bulletproof glass, so what, but wait a minute, it really is a big breakthrough, mainly, in my opinion, because there's got to be lots of other uses other than just stopping a bullet.
Sure. I know the movie hasn't come out yet, but have either of you seen the bubbles for Jurassic World? Like the little bubble cars.
I have, yes.
In the commercial.
Yeah.
They have like these bubble cars, and they're riding along dinosaurs, that kind of thing. Hey, make it out of this stuff.
Then the dinosaur couldn't get you.
Yeah, there you go.
Tooth-proof, claw-proof.
Tooth-proof.
But I guess the real story here, I mean, it doesn't say it's any more or less bulletproof than the traditional stuff. It weighs less and it can be any shape. I guess are the two big breakthroughs.
Yes.
Well, because it's not that alternating glass and plastic construction, which
I wonder how it shatters.
it probably doesn't. It just
Because like the laminated glass, it takes it and then it spider webs, but it doesn't break because it's laminated. Like
Right.
it'll go transparent, but you can't get through it. So
That's
I'm
a
wondering
great. It's
how this
interesting.
stuff.
Yeah. I
Well,
wonder.
I bet you we go to the website and watch it. You'll see what happens when they fire bullets at it.
And we've got a great bullet story later too. A really cool one.
So we're so basically so did we finish the story?
Yeah, we're all set. Yep.
Yep.
So there it is again. It's interesting the shape. Right now it looks like a fishbowl is what they have.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? For aquariums, this could be very good, guys.
Yeah, but you don't
Right.
have.
For those high-value target fish that you
That's right. Expensive goldfish.
a solid goldfish will be safe.
Okay. All right. Well, moving right along from bulletproof glass and spinel, called. We go to this next story 6. For those of us who've we've been hearing, and now they have 4K monitors. They give you this really great resolution. Well, evidently, Sharp has just unveiled the first 4K phone display. A phone display.
So now a phone has leaped past the TV in your living room. So why don't you just throw that thing away? Just get rid of it and get a phone.
Well, I heard about a retinal display. That was the big thing now. But now a 4K display on your phone. Wow.
Yeah, isn't this something? This comes from dailytech.com, story by Brandon Hill. And as you said, the headline was Sharp, unveils world's first 4K phone display at mind-boggling 806 pixels per inch. Okay, well, it's a little hard to understand why this would be a great thing. But here we go. It says the Pixel Wars are far from over, whereas Apple is just getting around to releasing smartphones with 750p and 1080p displays. Android smartphone makers have been pushing the envelope with 2560 by 1440 QHD displays, and I wanted to look this up and educate myself on QHD. It says it is a resolution standard for high-end monitors, televisions, and mobile devices. QHD is specified as 2560 by 1440 pixels at a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, 4 times that of 720p standard high def. Ultra wide QHD boosts the horizontal pixels to 3440 for a 21 by 9 aspect ratio. So there's your little definition lesson for tonight. Goes on, the story says QHD is all the rage these days, with flagships from Motorola, Samsung, and LG all sporting 5.2-inch or larger screens. Now, it says, let's take the LG G3, for example. The device features a 5.5-inch QH display, which works out to 538 pixels per inch. But 538 pixels per inch apparently is not enough for Sharp.
Nope.
I mean, this is like, I'm going to see you and raise you here in the gambling table of pixels.
Well, you got the sentence backwards, though. It says, but 538 pixels per inch is enough for Sharp.
Oh, I am sorry.
There we go.
My bad. Well, you see, my brain is yawning. Craig is yawning, but my brain is yawning. There you go. And my eyes are, not far behind. Thank you, Ben. Even though our eyes, talking about eyes, can't reliably make out pixels in an extremely dense screen as seen on the G3 or Samsung's Galaxy Note 4, Sharp has seen fit to develop a 4.1-inch IG-ZEO display with a resolution of 4.1-inch, now get this resolution, 2560 by 1600 pixels. For those who are wondering, that works out to an incredible 736 pixels per inch. This is the highest resolution display that Sharp has ever produced. And amazingly, the company expects to begin sampling the panel in 2015, of course this year, with volume production commencing in 2016. Now, fellas, help me out here. I love high-resolution displays.
I don't
Totally
know.
get it. But what's the point? I can see
I
one
love it.
point if the graphics adapter or the graphics subsystem on a smartphone through an HDMI outlet or something can be connected to a high def monitor, and I can see high def that way. But on a tiny little screen, I'm not poo-pooing it, but I'm just trying to understand what would be the practical day-to-day value add of that kind of resolution at that scale. And I'm open. I want to hear what the possibilities could be.
The only thing that I can come up with, Ralph, is that if you take a picture, and you want to blow it up, you want to magnify.
Oh, okay.
To a house, and and you want to see
open it up.
the fly on the house, on the side of that wall, and you want to bring and without any pixelization, and you have the density of the photograph to magnify that close, perhaps, maybe. But other than that, I can't.
Well, who doesn't like sharper screens and high resolution and putting that many pixels per inch? You're going to get some seriously sharp images.
Yeah, but when you're beyond the retina, the display, what your eyes can perceive, Ben, the only advantage would be is you blowing things up. And
you're right, and no one ever zooms in on their phone. That's insane.
If you zoom in, you would be able to zoom in so close to to get the minutest of detail.
But it's also a compatibility going forward for newer content, because content's getting higher resolution.
Yeah. Well, that would be the only reason that I can come up with.
Compatibility, I like it.
Yeah, Craig, I think that idea about expanding on a small device a photo, that definitely is one where I immediately went, oh yes, I can see the value of that. That makes sense.
All right, well, we're coming up to the top of the hour. We're still gonna have our show reminder winner of the week coming up, and also another news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston. Ralph Bond continues on with more stories here on the Computer America program. We'll be right back, just in a few short moments.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on with Ralph Bond, talking about all these different things that he sees, that writes about. We're currently finishing up Story 6. Again, you can see all of these. Just go to ComputerAmerica.com, click on the Show Notes button, and you'll see the Cheat Notes link right there. And you can it'll open up the Google Docs document, and you can see everything that we're talking about on tonight's show, plus all the links and all the features, so you can kind of follow along with us. So we just finished talking about the world's Sharp unveiling the world's first 4K phone display, and the title says a mind-boggling 806 pixels per inch. The story said 736 pixels per inch, so I'm not sure which is accurate, which is correct. But anyway, either way, it's pretty mind-boggling. And so we're going to continue on with Story 7. And this is, since we're doing a space theme here for this month, this story is 19 dazzling images of the most important discoveries in space.
Yeah, this is just a eye candy treat, and really, you need the show notes. Get that link. In fact, I'll paste the link into the chat room here as a prize for people who are in the chat room. Here we go. Check it out. Story from an outlet called Business Insider, Jessica Orwig story here. Beautiful image here, and I'll explain this image in a moment. Mars might not look like much from Earth. I don't know if I could even see it unless I had a telescope. But anyway, but close up, it's a perfect spectacle of natural beauty. Since 2006, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft has been orbiting Mars, snapping pictures of the surface with its HiRISE camera. And this article gives you access to a collection of some of the most incredible images the camera has taken over the years. The HiRISE images shown here, shown in the article, of course, have false coloring that highlights distinct Martian features, like the sand dunes shown in the image to the right, which means the image that I embedded into the show notes. The false coloring helps scientists see how the grooves and troughs of these features change over time. So, not to mislead anybody, this is not what it really looks like on the surface of Mars, but it's been enhanced with these color variations after the fact to help scientists understand this. And again, not a very long story here, but what you really want to do is go and click the link, go out there and look at some of these images. They're just fascinating.
Right. Okay, and you can see them again. Ben has some of the images on his background if you're watching Ben doing.
Cool.
Although I'm not sure what the. Oh, wait, there it is. Okay. Especially awesome photos of Mars.
Yeah.
So, and again, you can watch all the videos. Just go to our live video streaming page at computeramerica.com and see these for yourself. Moving on to story 8, Microsoft patents mood sensing tech for the HoloLens augmented reality sense. So, we were talking.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Yes, we were talking about the HoloLens. It's augmented reality headset. But now they've got mood sensing tech for their HoloLens. What's this all about, Ralph?
Yeah, this has actually been a very hot story in the last week or so. And this story actually is a little bit on the early end of the hot coverage wave, but comes from PC World, story by Mark Hackman. And again, we've got the links and everything for you. The picture here of the headgear they're playing around with. And Microsoft, by the way, in the show notes, I gave you the link to Microsoft's official web page and so forth for this, so I very much encourage you to go and check this out. This is once again another way. It's a little sidetrack here for a second. I've just been over the last, 5 years or so. I really have been so impressed with Microsoft and some of the things they're doing. Not everything's worked out so great. Microsoft Windows 8 has had its issues, but 10 is coming and so forth. But all in all, when I weigh it all out, I'm so impressed with a lot of what they're doing. But I digress. Let's get back to the story. It says Microsoft has patented technology that allows wearers of augmented reality glasses like this HoloLens, the one shown in the notes here, to interpret the emotional reactions of the people they're viewing. The patent, granted to Microsoft the day before its Build conference kicks off, covers see-through head-mounted display and sensing devices that detect audible, this is important, detect audible and visual behaviors of a subject in a field of view of the device. Now that, of course, sounds like the HoloLens, an augmented reality headset Microsoft has shown reporters behind closed doors and might eventually bring to market. Virtual reality devices like the Oculus Rift, we all know that product, right, fit over the user's eyes, enclosing and consuming their field of view. But augmented reality devices like HoloLens superimpose a head-up display over the real-world objects that the user sees. And there's a chart in here that shows some of the business of trying to detect emotions and so on. It says the mood-sensing technology works according to the patent. It just blows my mind. It says, now the article has some really good things. One of the things I love what PC World's doing in their articles, they have this why this matters, how it works. So first, the why this matters in the opinion of this author. It says, it appears Microsoft believes the hardware must not only see, but understand what it's seeing. Because people interact with each other so much, mood interpretation can prove out to be a powerful tool. This could be great for husbands. It might help me deal with my wife.
I'm not angry. It's like, well, HoloLens says you're furious. I feel.
Yes, that's right. HoloLens has told me in advance I'm already in trouble. Right? This could be good. The story goes on to say, but will people see the tech as too intrusive and creepy, thus hampering widespread social use? My guess is yes, according to this author. That's his opinion. How it works. The version of HoloLens that Microsoft has shown also includes a depth camera, so it can scan objects in front of the viewer. The same depth camera is part of the Microsoft Kinect, which can interpret data like a user's heart rate and skin temperature by closely observing his or her face. Microsoft's patent suggests scenarios in which the headset itself performs the interpretation, but also works in conjunction with a smartphone or other device. Sort of like Super Apple Watch in this case. Yeah. Microsoft's patent offers a variation that interprets facial gestures, smiles, frowns, narrowed eyes as indicators of particular emotional state. You know, guys, time out. I can look at my wife's face and figure out what's going on. I don't need help there. I need something that would help me, you know, maybe a heads-up display that says, don't say this, say this, or, you know,
that
back off,
like
or whatever.
That sounds like where Siri steps in with your phone and be like, and Siri pops up and says, hey, you know, you should go get your wife some flowers, or hey, you should get out now.
Or the HoloLens would come up and say, hey, Carolyn, what you really meant to say was this. That dress looks wonderful. Anyway, okay. Although the real-world examples Microsoft uses to illustrate the patent include a speaker, was that gagging? Oh,
gauging.
Oh, pardon me. Excuse me. Gauging the emotional response of his audience. Gagging. Another stands out as somewhat creepy. I like creepy. Other social situations in which the technology may be useful include romantic situations involving one-on-one relationship between individuals. You know, this could be helpful for dating, but more along the lines of what I suggested earlier. Don't say this. Don't go there. Back off, or have artificial intelligence suggestions, you know, how to, guys, we need this, you know, right? Women have this built in already. We need this. Okay. The future of a conversation, there's a funny kind of image in here that's kind of interesting. Creep factor aside, the technology could help those. Now, here's where, time and time again, we can have some fun, we can laugh about these things and think, what the heck do I need this for? And then the bell goes off in your head. Here you go. Creep factor aside, this is where it gets interesting. The technology can help those with Asperger's, autism, and other social disorders by interpreting emotional and social clues.
I kid you not. Like, I have it here. Like, I already pulled up the tab right here. I was looking it up just to make sure I wasn't going to make a fool of myself. I was like, you know, the average person does everything that this is doing. Like, they do it. You know, subconsciously, you can look at someone and say that person's angry, that person's annoyed, that person's happy, that person's sad. Like, right. You know, perfectly working a normal scenario, you do everything that this Kinect is proposing. Like, you can see if someone's flushed, you can see if they're overheated.
Right.
You know all this, but with someone with, you know, some form of autism on the spectrum, you know, that's one of the key things that they're missing. They can't tell if you are angry, if you're sad, if you're happy. They can't tell.
Yeah. So again, time and time again, we find things that at first we go, what's that for? And then you discover an interesting application that could help people with certain disabilities. And so I love this part. I think this makes this technology suddenly go from being kind of, you know, out there to being something that could be really useful. Now, the next line in the article I think is more trivial because I think a normal human being would, to your point, Ben, be able to sense these things. But it says, or conceivably the mood sensing could be used during sales calls or negotiations as a tool to see how far a client could be pushed before backing out. Now, I will offer one idea, though, related to that last sentence that could be interesting. This takes me way back in my early career when I was at Rockwell Semiconductors. Once upon a time, in a world far, far away, the star of American semiconductors before Intel was Rockwell Semiconductors. And you say, Rockwell what? Huh? They were the world's leading maker of facsimile dataset chips for fax machines, guys. And they were the darlings of American semiconductor technology at one time, seen as the great hope of the U.S. Very quickly, Intel took over, of course, with the microprocessor and blah, 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 blah. But I worked for Rockwell Semiconductors. Now, here's where I'm going with my point. In those days, our customers were Japanese. And we used to go through all kinds of courses and training of Japanese business etiquette, how to do this, how to do that, and so forth. Because, I'll give you a classic example. In a Japanese business meeting, what threw off we North Americans was silence. You would say something to them, and they would just sit there quietly. And we thought, did I say something wrong? And the American or North American or Western culture approach to that was, oh shit, I said that, sorry. Oh, doggone it, I've said something wrong. And you start talking and adding more and just building and right? and the Japanese are just sitting there stone-faced. What you learned in the culture class was this is completely normal. They're just thinking. It's not rude, and what you do is you say your piece, and you put your hands on your lap, and you just wait. And it could be minutes before someone says something. Now, if I had the headgear on and it would say, don't worry, don't freak out, this is a cultural thing. If it were like a cultural exchange kind of thing for emotions and so on, that I could see.
That would be interesting because the same thing with cultures all over the place. I hear this a lot with people from the Middle East. Like a lot of people think that they're really, really angry, like they're an angry people.
Yeah.
But no, really, I mean, they're just really emotional. Like they're really happy. They're very exuberant. They're outgoing. But you come from one place and you can easily mistake or project the wrong moods.
Yeah. So I could see something that could be just pretty elegant and pretty sophisticated, but it could be an interesting thing. And then, of course, there was a kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing about maybe using this technology to play poker and be able to guess the expressions of your opponent, right? It says it closes by saying, so far Microsoft has said almost nothing about HoloLens. That's not true now. If you look at the most recent press, they have begun to say more, and they have that website that's in our show notes. So check it out, guys. This is interesting. On one hand, it seems kind of wacky. On the other hand, when you start thinking about its uses for people with disabilities, or for a crazy example like I suggested, who knows? It could be. It could ultimately be something pretty profound and useful.
Like what you said, at the very beginning of this, Microsoft's doing a lot of good things. This is something that really, personally, I haven't really seen from Microsoft in a while. Is that they're going out of their way to try something new. Like they tried with 8.1 to really work with tablets and smartphones and yada yada operating system. Whatever, good and good. But with this, like with the HoloLens, it seems like Microsoft, I don't want to say having some fun, but they're trying to do some serious research and development. They're trying to really branch out into something new, and like I would have never thought to check for like they're trying things that's people aren't even thinking of anymore, and that's just the kind of thing you want with new technology. You want to see every possible application, not just it pairs up with your smartphone and it lets you watch YouTube videos. Like they're trying everything, and that yay Microsoft, that's good stuff.
Well, and I agree with that, yay Microsoft. And again, the origins of this, or related to this, is all the work that's gone on for a number of years now with Kinect. Now, whether Kinect was successful as a gaming thing, or say you could argue that back and forth and up and down, that's fine. But it's the R&D behind it that's evolving, and HoloLens is part of that evolutionary path they're on, and I think they're on to something. I think it could be very interesting.
Absolutely, it really does. So, but a very interesting article, by the way.
Yeah.
So, and aspects of augmented reality that you hadn't even considered. Exactly. All
Finally,
right.
I'll be able to talk with Craig and know what he's thinking. It's no idea right now. You look him in the eye and he looks, just dead. No light behind him. So
It's the husband saver. It's husband saver technology is what we need.
Yeah, it takes years of practice to develop that technology.
I'm still not there.
No, but really, this kind of technology, though, it's hopefully sometime next year. Like I think the HoloLens had a release date of third quarter 2016, but within the next year or two, pretty much everyone's going to have access to this kind of stuff. Can buy it and bring it into their home. I can't wait.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we've talked about. Drones have been in the news for some time now, but evidently the U.S. drone, according to Story 9, has completed its first in-flight refueling.
Yes, I only bring the most out of there sometimes stories for you guys, right? I mean, this is the fun part. We could talk about products and stuff, but I like to go for kind of the esoterica. So this fits that category for a Friday night. So this comes from PC World, story by Martin Williams, and it really is kind of intriguing. There's a great picture where you see this drone, which kind of looks like a miniature stealth bomber. It's a really cool-looking drone, and being refueled midair. So here's the story. It says the U.S. military has successfully demonstrated what it says is the first ever in-flight refueling of an unmanned aircraft, and in doing so, completed a flight test program that leads to a new generation of military drones due to take flight in the 2020s. So next decade, right? The refueling was conducted on April the 22nd in the Atlantic Test Range off the coast of Maryland and Virginia. There, an X-47B autonomous aircraft automatically maneuvered itself to mate with the refueling probe trailing the K-707 tanker aircraft and receive more than 4,000 pounds of fuel, the U.S. Navy said. So you can see a video too, guys. And the X-47B is an experimental drone built by Northrop Grumman as part of the Navy's Unmanned Combat Air System Demonstration Program and has been flying since 2011. During its testing, it has performed other firsts, such as a catapult launch from an aircraft carrier and a landing. It has served as a test bed for technologies that will be incorporated into UCLASS, Unmanned Carrier-Launched Airborne Surveillance and Strike. Don't you love the military? You think technology guys have acronyms? Get that mouthful. Unmanned, carrier-launched, airborne, surveillance and strike. UCLASS. An unmanned drone program the Navy is developing for use from aircraft carriers. In-flight refueling allows aircraft, both manned and unmanned, to considerably extend how long they can stay in the sky. And then it goes on to conclude the X-47B has a range of 2,000 nautical miles. But that is on the low side compared to production drones in use by the U.S. military. The RQ-4 Global Hawk, also built by Northrop Grumman, has a range of more than 8,000 miles. So put this together, guys. That kind of range, in-flight refueling, kind of changes the landscape of advanced, very sophisticated drones that are more high-powered, larger, can carry larger payloads. I know drones are terribly controversial. I know there's, a terrible, sad part of the, collateral damage of civilians and all this sort of thing, and that is terrible and it's regrettable. But it is kind of fascinating from a technology point of view. And I also stress again, we're talking military here, but there could be commercial drones. There could be drones for peaceful purposes and other things of this nature. There's the video. Yeah, thanks, Ben. It's really kind of remarkable when you think that's an unmanned vehicle going up to dock and mate with that fueling line. So pretty interesting. And the next story. This one, also military, but wow, what a story this one is.
Yeah, we actually had talked a little bit about this in our news, but I want to go ahead and talk about this. Is about you can't quite shoot around corners yet, but this really is.
Well, what this means, this story, if I understand it right, guys, see if you agree, it means maybe I could be a sharpshooter, because it takes the talent out of the equation. Anything that takes talent out of the equation is something that might help me, right? So here we go. I exaggerate. X-Acto, not the little razor blade thing that we used as kids. No, X-Acto guided bullet demonstrates repeatable performance against moving targets. The source is a DARPA news release. Dun, dun, dun. And there's a video you can see, which is really cool. DARPA's, here you go. Another acronym, guys. DARPA's Extreme Accuracy Tasked, past tense. So Extreme Accuracy Tasked Ordnance, X-Acto program, which developed a self-steering, what? Self-steering bullet to increase hit rates for difficult long-range shots, completed in February its most successful round of live fire tests to date. Now, friends, you must see this video. It is spooky, eerie, fascinating. I mean, this is just like, what? This is the stuff we see in science fiction movies, right? But guess what? Ding, it's happening. So, it says, an experienced shooter using the technology demonstration system repeatedly hit moving and evading targets. Additionally, now here's the ding, ding, ding part that makes me possibly a candidate. A novice shooter using the system for the first time hit a moving target. A novice shooter. The video shows X-Acto rounds maneuvering in flight to hit targets that are moving and accelerating. X-Acto's specially designed ammunition and real-time optical guidance system help track and direct projectiles to their targets by compensating for weather, wind, target movement, and other factors that can impede its successful hits. My brain is just like melting when you think of the algorithms and the sensors and the stuff that must be going on in a bit of ammo. What?
Yeah.
I mean, just let that sink in. That's why I had to do this story. I'm glad you guys covered it before, but we had to repeat it. This blows my mind.
Just let that sink in, Bullet. I get it. But
Yes. Yeah. Well, you never know.
No, but first of all, anything DARPA, like I don't know who is choosing which projects to pursue in DARPA, but DARPA always has the coolest stuff. But in war zones or places where bullets are actually being used, like, because honestly, I wouldn't want this for like deer hunting. Like, that takes all the sport out of it. I mean, and then you're just killing. Yeah, because then you're just killing deer. Like it's not a sport anymore.
But zombies.
Well, depends. Are we talking about fast zombies or slow zombies?
Oh no, World War Z zombies.
Well, yeah. Oh, of course. No, but in war zones where people are actually trying to shoot high targets.
Yeah.
And not civilians.
Yes.
If you could find some way to, because in the video it shows only one possible target, but let's imagine a room or a street or something like that where the person's moving in and out, instead of just having one trajectory and it's always going to hit whoever's there, instead of tracking that one person, casualty fire and people dying to unfortunately being in the wrong place at the wrong time is going to go down dramatically.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. It could very well be, and this guidance technology put into a drone-fired missile could also help it achieve better accuracy and thus reduce civilian collateral damage. So that's a good point too. Yeah. So the story goes on. It's a quote here. It says, "True to DARPA's mission, X-Acto has demonstrated what was once thought impossible: the continuous guidance of a small caliber bullet to a target," said Jerome Dunn, DARPA program manager. Goes on with a quote, "This live fire demonstration from a standard rifle showed that X-Acto is able to hit moving and evading targets with extreme accuracy at sniper ranges unachievable with traditional rounds. Fitting X-Acto's guidance capabilities into a small 50 caliber size is a major breakthrough and opens the door to what could be possibly in the future for guided projectiles across all calibers," and that's where I was suggesting even something like drone-launched missiles, right? So the X-Acto program developed new approaches and advanced capabilities to improve the range and accuracy of sniper systems beyond the current state of the art. The program sought to improve sniper effectiveness and enhance troop safety by allowing greater shooter standoff range and reduction in target engagement timelines. And again, there's links here to their webpage. That video is fascinating. I know things that are meant to kill people, it's very depressing and sad in some ways, but the technology, friends, again, there could be peaceful possible uses for this that could also be really, really wonderful. And who knows, in the hands of the right people, this could be very, very interesting technology.
I'm trying to think of any peaceful application of a bullet, a self-guiding bullet.
Oh,
maybe to deliver. Go ahead, Ben. I'd like to hear what you think.
You ever seen those marshmallow shooting gun things? You ever try to shoot them into other people's mouths? Tracking marshmallows so it hits the mouth every time. Perfect. Amazing.
This Nerf Corporation, please pay attention. This is important stuff,
The only thing I can think of, maybe something like this, is that in law enforcement, and you have a hostage situation, the bad guy, and who's holding the good guy kind of close to them.
Right.
Yes, like every TV show and movie you've ever seen.
Yes.
That's
a good one.
Bullet to take out the bad guy, and the hostage is still alive. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, there could, in terms of peaceful uses, maybe there's situations where there's a moving entity and you need to deliver some kind of material or something. I don't know. I mean, I just throw that out as a possibility, but I do think It's pretty scary. Boy, oh boy, I tell you, the stuff we thought was just science fiction is rapidly becoming real every single day.
Yeah.
Pretty good, bad, up, down, we'll see.
And it's all DARPA's fault.
Well, there you go. Darn that DARPA.
Well, no, this time it's self-guided bullets. They're also was it DARPA or no? Lockheed Martin or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones said they were getting like the fusion reactor going.
Mm-hmm.
The future's
Miniature.
coming. Yeah, the future's coming scary fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what we thought lasers were completely, science fiction, unusable. They're on battleships nowadays to shoot down drones and set drones on fire.
Yeah,
it is the future.
Yeah, you're right. And I'll tell you what, here's what the world needs in a big, giant hurry. They need to figure out how to make massive desalination really affordable for California, because otherwise, and even here in Oregon, of all places on Earth, we're now starting to go, uh-oh, we're in a drought. By Oregon standards, we've had one of the warmest, driest winters almost on record. And people are scared because all of our lives up here, it was like there will always be endless rain. And the streams will always flow, and the snowpack. So technology world, now the Israelis are really good at desalination. They're very good at this. But it's got to be something bigger, more massive, and vastly less expensive. And the expended salt from the process has to be dealt with in a positive way. So, wow, if you ever had you need another President Kennedy to say we need to put a man on the moon in 10 years, we need to figure out how to desalinate ocean water in a practical way to save the western United States. I mean, holy smokers, guys, it's serious. It's very scary. So I get off my soapbox. I've said my piece. I've asked the scientific world to get together. But that's where we need a president to stand up and say, let's get it together here and figure this out and put some big bucks behind it, right? Anyway, I digress.
I have no doubt that smarter people than I are working on it.
Oh, I sure are. Yeah.
You're listening to the Computer America Show. We've got our show reminder winner of the week coming up as well. Lots more stories coming up, too. Don't go anywhere. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf's staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Okay, but 1 minute later, we would have had to mark you tardy. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the Ryobi 10-inch drill press. Hey, pal, want to buy a hole? Some marketers will tell you that people don't buy drills, they buy holes, but need drills to make them. And as you know, we've reviewed plenty of drills, and so much tech upkeep tends to involve holes. Note, though, that those have always been freehand drills, so those holes sometimes end up a little off the mark or at a slightly unanticipated angle. It was time to do a whole lot better, so we got an Ryobi DP103L 10-inch drill press to review. It has an adjustable height table assembly and a 3-handle spring-loaded control for bringing the chuck and the drill bit it carries down to the piece you want to drill. That's all pretty normal. Under a top cover, you can adjust a drive belt's position on various radius motor and spindle pulleys for speeds of 610, 900, 1500, 2075, or 2800 RPM, as appropriate to the hardness and thickness of the material you want to drill. Advice is in the manual. A removable plastic piece can disable the power switch to lock the drill off. Separate switches control two features we really like: an LED work light and a laser X that crosses exactly where the drill bit will enter. The manual tells you how to tweak that if it ever goes astray. Bottom line, the Ryobi DP103L 10-inch drill press is a whole bunch of useful for creating more useful holes. This is Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. Here in the second hour, the last segment of the show, Ralph Bond is closing it out with us here on this wonderful Friday night. Greg, do we have a show reminder, or do we stop doing that?
No, we have a show reminder. We do.
We do have a show reminder. Oh, so it's that time to do it, I guess. If you have one laying around, if you have a winner laying around, you'd like to share with everyone.
Yes, and again, this doesn't mean this is the last prize. No. In our process of changing things over and everything, we're still going to have a weekly prize. We're just going to be using our social media to determine who wins something. Since there's no more show reminder, everything is going to be on our new website with a calendar, so you can go back and forth and everything. So, but anyway, we said we're going to have a show reminder winner tonight, and we are certainly going to do that. So, Ralph, you have the digital drums, and you get ready here, and but you're muted. You have to unmute yourself for the digital drums. Okay, there he goes. All right. This week's show reminder winner is.
Not bad.
Not bad at all. Tom Kennedy. Tom Kennedy, congratulations. You're our show reminder winner of the week. Tom wins the Logitech Wireless Rechargeable Touchpad T650, valued at $80. So congratulations, Tom.
Oh, wait. Tom Kennedy won?
Tom Kennedy won.
Oh, the rich get richer.
Well, we don't know if he's that Kennedy, you know.
Well, we don't know that he's not that Kennedy.
He's a Kennedy. Well, you know. I mean, even if you were Kennedy, you would still like to eat one of these touchpads. Anyhow, congratulations to you, Tom. And we'll have more information on how to win our weekly prize when we come back on Monday. Well, when all will be revealed. Okay, so let's continue on. Ralph Bond is here with us doing our all the fun things that he finds on the internet. And this next story is a surfboard made from not wood, made from not plastic, made from not vegetables.
Algae. Oh my God, I was gonna take you all night. Algae.
Made from algae.
Yeah, how about that, huh? I remember earlier in the show I was talking about the research that's being done by this group called The Living, is the name of the outfit, taking fungus and making building materials out of it, right? Well, here's a pretty interesting thing. This comes from Geek.com, very fun website, guys, if you're not familiar with it, or listeners. Story by Lee Matthews, he writes wonderful articles. The story is called "This Surfboard is Made from Algae." What? And there's a great picture here of the board shaper working on the product. Now, the story says algae floats on waters.
Yeah.
Surfboards hopefully float on water.
Yeah,
Therefore, surfboards are made of algae.
I love that reasoning.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a sort of like surfer dude. Hey, man, algae floats.
I learned that A equals B, B equals C, therefore A equals C. You know, that's it.
Oh, okay, I get it. It says, obviously, that's not always the case, but it is with the board you see here. Researchers at the University of California, San Diego, now you got to love that. University of California, San Diego, surf heaven, right? Part of the surf world down there, recently teamed up with local surf suppliers to produce the world's first surfboard made from algae. UC professor and algae genetics researcher Steve Mayfield, himself an avid surfer for more than 4 decades, was all too happy to head up the project for years. Mayfield, has worked at creating algae-based biofuels, because if you're familiar with the world of algae and science, biofuels is something that's really a cool thing when you get to algae, but that I digress. So this fellow Mayfield has been working in the algae-based biofuels research at University of California, San Diego, with the help of undergrad biology students. Now, to make the sustainable surfboard project happen, they got together with chemistry students to tackle the problem of producing polyurethane foam from the same algae oil they'd been using to produce fuel. Love it. Today, the polyurethane foam used to create the surfboard cores is made from petroleum products, which Mayfield is quick to point out is really just another kind of algae fuel. Ultimately, yes, because billions of years ago when all those critters croaked, that's what oil is. But I digress. It's just fossilized 300 million to 400 million years old and buried deep underground, he clarifies. With the assistance of 2 other UCSD professors, Robert Pomeroy and Michael Burkhart, the team was able to convert the oil into polyols. I guess polyols? Polyols. Okay, how do you pronounce that? Polyols. Polyols?
Polyols, I like it.
Okay, there we go.
Polyola doodle all day.
Oh, hey, well done, Craig. They then worked out the correct catalyst and silicates to mix it in to create foam that was both rigid and buoyant enough to be made into surfboard blanks. If you're not a surfer, the blanks are the basic sheet, and then the art form in the old days was hand shaping. I'm sure they're all doing it by machine today. I grew up in San Clemente on the coast in Southern California, so a guy across the street was a board shaper. He was the science teacher at the high school, but also a side business was board shaping, and boy, I tell you, that was an art form in the old days. Anyway, the foam was handed off to experts at Arctic Foam, who shaped the board and finished it off with layers of fiberglass, and an eco-friendly resin. Professor Mayfield says the next step is to substitute a renewable fiberglass so that the UCSD boards are 100% green, something they might underscore by actually dyeing the blanks green with a dash of algae-based colorant. So, again, surfboard, that's great, that's fun. Time out. Think about other amazing possibilities for something like this. Building floating docks or floating wave energy things and other buoys and other things, all kinds of things that need buoyancy and floating but need rigidity and the strength of a surfboard. And you can just, your mind can just take off on all kinds of possibilities, boat craft, other things of this nature. So fun stuff to think about, and I love to see that kind of research in algae for alternatives to petroleum. And then working with chemistry students, they come up with this algae-based foam that can have use for surfboards and millions of other possibilities too. Great fun story.
Yeah, exactly. All right, surfers, surfs up.
Surfs up. I have to tell another surfing story. It's in my blood. I got to tell you.
Do it.
So I grew up in San Clemente. Get out your maps, folks. San Clemente is the last town in southern Orange County before you get to Camp Pendleton, okay? And it's, if you listen to Beach Boys songs, there's references to Doheny and Trussels and all that. That's all the world I grew up in. And my mom and I had an apartment over a beach called T Street, which was a very popular surfing spot. And I remember in the old days, before there was the internet, before there was any of that, surf tide reports and stuff, my friends would call me up and say, Ralph, look out the window, what do we got? And in the old days, I used to be able to describe the sets and the type of waves and the glassy this and all this sort of stuff. And now it's all done by the internet. It's so funny. I go out there and you go out there, search, and you get all the beach report, all the surf conditions. But in the old days, it was dial Ralph, get him to go walk out to his bedroom window and look down down at the surf. What do we got today?
Replaced by the internet. What can I say?
I was replaced.
Anyway, story 13.
Yeah.
I like this. For those of you who have old hard drives, we found a new use for them. Okay, and it's an interesting. And you can turn your old drives into external storage for $35. This is kind of cool.
I think this is very clever. Isn't this a clever idea? And you think to yourself, why didn't someone come up with this a long time ago? I don't know about you guys, but because of legacy PC systems, mostly desktops and stuff that I've had over the year, or even legacy laptops, when I turn in laptops to the Goodwill or something, I usually take the hard drive out, and hang on to it. And so I've got, God, I don't know how many hard drives from desktop systems, laptops, whatever, sitting around. And yeah, I have those adapters that allow me to plug them in USB and read files from them or do whatever I need to do to them occasionally. But other than that, they kind of are just in dead storage. But here's a product. The magazine or the outlet is called Kinja, K-I-N-J-A Deals. So two separate words, Kinja Deals. And a story by Shep McAllister. And the headline, again, as you were saying, is Turn 2 Old Hard Drives into External Storage for $35. And there's a great picture in the show notes. You can see this kind of little platform-like attachment with a couple of drives inserted, different types of drives, as you can see there. And the story says, if you have any old hard drives or solid-state drives lying around, and certainly I do, this inexpensive docking station can turn 2 of them into easily external backup drives. Now, friends, there's nothing to keep you from taking them out and swapping in others, so you could have like a whole array of them, right? Yep. Potentially. So it says the USB 3.0 and 2-bay clone and SATA, 6 gigabits, Initech USB 3. There's the different models. As you can look at the notes and see all the different models, but the one in question here, or one of the models, is $69.99. So what they're saying is the $35 per drive is really more accurate. The box itself doesn't support RAID. The 2 drives will show up as 2 separate volumes on your computer, so it would be kind of cool if they could RAID that. But anyway, but it's still an easy way to set up a ton of external storage. You can also use it to clone. There's a good point. You can use it to clone one drive to another without using a computer. I like that. Now but here the pricing's kind of confusing because there's this USB pricing for one product at $69.99, and then they go back to $35 off of Amazon.com for the Initech USB 3.0 SATA dual base product. But anyway, the concept's great. Check it out. Look at the show notes. And if you have a need for something like this, I certainly think that cloning idea is pretty darn clever.
I do think, but Ben and I did a story last night that kind of blew me away, Ralph, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes again.
Oh, great.
We talked about a story about this company called Fixstar. They just unveiled a 2.5-inch solid-state drive that has, on one 2.5-inch solid-state drive, 6 terabytes on a solid-state drive.
Are you serious?
6 terabytes on a solid.
6 terabytes.
6 terabytes on a one little tiny 2.5-inch solid.
Again, just to make it clear, because Craig's been saying it for 3 or 4 times now, solid state drive, not magnetic, not original hard drive, solid state.
Solid state.
I'm speechless. That is just freaking great. Look at that.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What does it cost? It must be pretty spendy.
It doesn't say it, but I got to tell you, eventually it's not going to matter because the price is going to come down. But my point when I received this, and I said this to Ben last night, is I think the age of magnetic drives is pretty much over. I mean, I understand for data farms and they're going to hold, but I think even then, with solid state drives, are going to just come down somewhere that it's going to go floppy disk. I mean, optical media is pretty much obsolete too as well.
Right.
Solid-state drives with this kind of capacity and that kind of size.
Wow.
Okay. So I have the Fixstar website here up on our video stream, but for anyone wanting to know how much it is, let's go with this. I clicked on the order quote. The 1 terabyte solid state drive from Fixstars cost $990 plus tax. So it's $1,000 for terabyte.
Okay.
The 3 terabyte option just says contact us. That means for the 6 terabyte, which they just had a press release, they just announced, and they could technically do, odds are it's only available by contacting them. And if we're going off by the per terabyte price of $1,000 per terabyte, we're going off we're looking at about $6,000 straight from that, if not more, because it is all in one unit. So potentially $6,000 and up for one hard drive.
Yeah. But if you have a special business need for something like that, and a business budget to do it, you could swing it. And guys, remember the history of SSDs in terms of cost, right?
No, I mean you might spend $6,000 for it now, but in 6 months,
that's right.
It's going to be $995.
Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, actually, you think about these 128 gig or 250 gig capacity SSD drives now are very affordable, right?
Yeah.
What did you spend for your 60 gig drive? You have a 60.
Oh, nothing. Yes, nothing.
Oh,
well, that's a good price.
What did it cost?
No.
I think back when I bought it, they were still going for something like $2 a gig, and nowadays they're under $1 a gig. So they've reduced in half in just a couple of years.
Yeah. It's well worth looking. I've been really thinking about taking my desktop computer, which still works fine, but I was thinking it would probably be really cool to see what would happen if I had my operating system and my main applications on an SSD, and just see what happens with that. So that could be kind of fun.
That is fun. Listen, we don't have all time for all the stories. But you can see them, of course, on our show notes page, just on our cheat notes. You can see all of them. But there is one. I want to go to 17. I want to move down to story 17.
You got it.
And the story about the drone dad. The drone dad.
Oh, yes. Have you heard about this one? This one got a lot of attention. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's a story from Ars Technica, which is a great website, by the way, folks. The headline is, After Drone Dad Follows His Daughter to School. DJI Phantom 2 was grounded. His drone was grounded, so it's pretty funny. And there's a video you can see. I've got the link in the show notes for you. And it's pretty interesting because you actually see the drone's camera. There's a little girl walking down the street to school. It takes embarrassing your children at school to a whole new level, right? Anyway, the story says, a Tennessee father who followed his 8-year-old daughter to school with a drone has now decided to ground it in the wake of the attention his flight has garnered. According
I understand, privacy and parents helicoptering and everything, but she's 8 years old, and he thought he was being a dad. He thought he was, protecting his little girl, and just kind of.
Oh, come on, dude! If you have time to sit at home and watch your kid walk to school, why not just walk your kid to school?
Excellent point.
She didn't want her father walking with her because she wants to be.
No, that'd be too safe.
But gee, a drone up above your head is better than that.
She didn't know the drone was following her until the.
So it was surreptitiously done. Okay, that makes it better.
Yeah. So according to the local TV station in Knoxville, Tennessee, Chris Early decided to launch a drone to monitor his child's walk to school after she requested that she be allowed to walk on her own. Okay, sweetheart, you can take a walk. Guess what, though? Don't look over your head. The move got some local media attention earlier this week, and other news sites picked up on it, and Time magazine even dubbed him the world's most embarrassing dad. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Yeah, I mean, so can you imagine if she had been kidnapped, the father would have had it?
Well, yeah,
You're
right.
That's an extreme scenario.
No, kids. How many kids are kidnapped?
Oh, it's
less than any other time in the last 100 years. The abduction rates are the lowest they've ever been.
Where do you get that from?
Okay, I'll pull it up. Okay, yeah, keep talking. I'll pull up statistics.
Well, he pulls that up because we don't buy it. Anyway, he goes on to say it was something kind of. Oh, it's a quote here from he said it was something kind of fun to do, just to let her know I'm watching her and stuff like that. Good old Dad said, but it's not something I'm going to be doing every day. I guess not. WVLTs, that's the local radio or TV station, video footage appears to show the DJI Phantom 2 taking off and so forth. And then the fellow, the dad, Mr. Early, did not immediately respond to ours. That's the website from the story. Request for comment. But anyway, I just thought it does raise a lot of issues. Craig, you're right. I as a parent, especially when my guys were little, I would have been very happy to have a chip embedded into them. I would have been very happy to be able to be on my computer and know where they are, at least just positionally, like GPS or something,
Exactly.
or any technology where I could have been alerted that they're in trouble or there's a health issue going on.
Right.
I mean, I would have for me personally, I'm a health patient, heart patient myself. I wouldn't have any problem whatsoever if there was some kind of device in my body that would alert my hospital or the paramedics that there goes Ralph, and come and scrape me up and take me off again. Would be great. I mean, I don't have. I know there's creepiness and there's spookiness and Big Brother aspects to all this sort of stuff, but to me, the good outweighs the bad.
I think the father should have been commended for doing that, and because if anything had happened to her and he was able to thwart that, or at least call or do something, he would have been justified. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, nothing did happen to her, but this time. But things can happen. Did you find that article, Ben? Because I don't.
Yeah, because we're not buying it.
Yeah, we're not buying it at all.
Apparently, Knoxville is not a very safe area, so I'm going to reserve my judgment for that.
Oh, now he's trying to say that abductions in Knoxville have gone down.
No. In the country, Knoxville apparently. Sorry for anyone listening in Knoxville. You got like a 2 out of 100 in terms of safety. Apparently, it's pretty dangerous over there. So, like knowing that, I would have just said, "Sorry, baby, I'm walking with you." I mean, it's not safe out there. So, I mean, better than a drone. Give the kid a cell phone and don't. And by the way, the definition of a helicopter parent. Like no better definition than this guy's picture, using a drone to be a helicopter parent. I don't know.
He was just
funny.
Technology. I think it was funny, and I think it was very, very. How would I say? It was very. It was very creative. Yes, creative on his part. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Inspired.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so for people who want, we have time maybe for one more quick story. No, I don't know. Ralph, why don't you just tell us what's going on with you and Autodesk? Because I don't know if we have time to get into the story. But
sure. Yeah. So fun stuff coming up for me. Next week I'm going to be going to the American Institute of Architects convention in Atlanta, Georgia. And boy, the world of architecture, as you guys may know, again, I work for Autodesk, but the part of Autodesk I work for is the architecture, engineering, construction, and civil engineering part of the world. There's all the manufacturing, the media and entertainment part of our company, but there's a huge part of our company that makes software to help architects, construction people, civil engineers, and so forth design and use some amazing technology. And one of the most amazing things that I'm seeing these days in civil infrastructure, certainly, and in architecture too, I have some colleagues that are working with Oculus Rift, right? Combining it with software that either for a large-scale city environment or, say, a roadway project or something, allowing project stakeholders, technical and non-technical, to literally, see and experience what a design would be like, and buildings and so forth. So at the American Institute of Architects convention, it's going to be all about these amazing technologies, and I think one of the most interesting areas in my field for technology is dealing with what are called as-built or existing buildings. Say you have an old historic building. There are no plans left for it. Nowadays we've got photogrammetry, digital photos, laser scanning, other things that can take imagery in and output 3D models, which in turn can form the basis for designing seismic retrofitting or all kinds of stuff. So technology, something like the American Institute of Architects. You wouldn't necessarily think it's going to be like a technology show. It is so rich in technology and so exciting.
Wow. Well, and again, if you want to see some of the other things like a holographic virtual aquarium,
Yeah.
look at, and talking about Cablevision becoming the first pay TV provider to resell Hulu services. All these stories and more, you can see them on Ralph's on the show notes at the cheat notes at computeramerica.com. They're all up there. And Ralph, listen, thanks so much for being with us here. Stay with us to the end of the show, okay? And what we're going to do now is just basically, again, tell you what's coming up over the weekend. Monday, what do we have on Monday? Monday, we have two guests, Digital Reasoning. This is going to be really, you know how we saw these articles about artificial intelligence, you know, and was it Elon Musk was saying it's going to be dangerous, and Stephen Hawking, all these prestigious names saying that artificial intelligence could be the end of us, signal the end of us. I know you saw Chappie, the movie. You know.
Why do you have to remind me?
90 seconds.
But, you know, Skynet, all that stuff. Well, we're going to talk to Tim Estes, who's the CEO of Digital Reasoning. We're going to get to the bottom of this. What artificial intelligence, does it really truly pose a threat to humanity? That's going to be a fascinating hour discussion with him. And then in the second hour, we're going to have Unified Weapons Master. That's going to be here with us.
The two are not related.
60 seconds.
Yeah, but it's going to be an interesting show about technology embedded in armor. So, you know, it's going to be a fun show. Hey, listen, everybody, have a great weekend. You know, catch a movie, do something fun, you know, and Ben and I will see you Monday night. You got big plans?
Oh yeah, no, I got dates, so many dates, and ladies and friends, so many.
So many dates, so little time. All right, everybody, have a great weekend, and Ben and I will see you here on Monday night. So until Monday night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you Monday night.
Good night, everyone.
Seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, again, thanks so much for being here. Ralph, always a pleasure having you here, and we will see you next month, right?
All right. It was a blast.
All right. See ya. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Good night.